what might make sense is for us to talk about integration options. How do you get these things to connect? How do you get them to talk to each other? So for our first one, and definitely the most basic, HubSpot does have an out-of-the-box integration with NetSuite. So it's in their HubSpot data sync. It's supported by HubSpot. It is very basic, and it can do some fundamental things for you. So we see some customers do this for taking an order and sending it into NetSuite and creating a customer, and it can do sort of this one directional flow. And then you can configure sync fields also. There are a fair number of limitations to those sync fields. If you ever tried to set this up, you probably encountered them pretty quickly. But as you're getting some of those, there is an out-of-the-box sync. That's a great place to start and help understand sort of what the breadth of what you want to integrate is, and then really inform the conversation as you get to things that are a little bit deeper. It's a good place to start, but I would expect you to outscale it really quickly simply because ERP is complex. And if you're really trying to figure out how to integrate CRM and ERP, you are probably a level above and beyond this out of the box functionality kind of right out the gate. And so with that, there are a whole bunch of other options, and I'll let Ryan sort of introduce us to one of the first ones that you might want to look towards.
Yeah, and Connor, like you mentioned, ERPs can be very complex, and every business has a different business requirement as they're going through these integrations. So it's really important that you take that into consideration as you're evaluating these different integration methods. So one of the other integration approaches is through the NetSuite Suite Apps, which is the NetSuite marketplace of applications. This also includes the previous HubSpot data sync that Connor mentioned in the previous slide, but it also adds in some of the other vendors and partners that also build integration between HubSpot and NetSuite. So again, depending on your use case, you might be using the default out of the box, or you could be using a third-party partner there. The benefits of these NetSuite Suite apps is that, number one, they are specifically designed for NetSuite. These are usually vendors that are verified on the NetSuite partnership program, which, it takes a bit of work to be a partner. So you're not just working with some random developer who built an app and hopefully it threw it onto the Suite App Marketplace. There's a lot of validation to this process. So from an ERP perspective, the workflows and the complexities are usually taken into consideration. The nice thing about these Suite apps too is that they're usually pretty straightforward in terms of implementation and installation, meaning that the configuration screens could be someone that is on the accounting or finance team. It doesn't necessarily require an engineer to come in and configure everything. So there's a lot of benefits to that when you're thinking about that integration path for you as a business. Do you only have accounting people, or do you have an engineer or someone in IT that can assist in that integration? What you might run into some cons, like Connor mentioned the previous one, is that it doesn't really cover all of the custom requirements. So depending on how you want to manage your integrations and how things change, in terms of you growing from direct to consumer to business to business model or wholesale model, how does that scale with your business? So that's kind of the gist of the NetSuite Suite apps. And then this next one here is about third-party iPaaS. So iPaaS is integration platform as a service. It's become more and more popular over the past decade here. Just to give you a quick stat, as I was looking at it, back in 2016, the iPaaS market was about 575 million. By 2030, we're expecting it to be about 50 billion. So we're seeing that integrations are just becoming more and more important to the success of businesses across the board for every department. So where iPaaS comes in is that they focus on more than just one endpoint to another endpoint integration, meaning HubSpot to NetSuite. In the complex world of running your business, you might need HubSpot, NetSuite, plus one additional source of data. That could be Shopify, it could be Stripe, and you need to append that data to ultimately run your workflows. So what an iPaaS as a third party can do is give you that ability to set up these integrations in a user-friendly, pre-built template or product solution. It's almost like a quick start for your integration. Now, unlike the Suite apps in the previous two slides, it gives you a little more customization. So if you did need to add a slight script here and there, you would be able to do that. So typically, I would say someone that's running an iPaaS, they're a business analyst, they're an IT or systems administrator. They might not necessarily need to be a full stack developer, but they have some idea about the technical sides of things. And they can interface and work with your departments, whether it's finance or accounting, to get these integrations completed. Some of the most popular examples of iPaaS would be Soligo, Make, Boomi, and Zapier. And they range from all various sizes of functionality, features, and workflows.
The best part about this is that ideally you don't need any development support to make it work, but you do need some level of technical and RevOps expertise in your organization in order to sort of pursue that type of a connection. But the good news is you don't need a ton of development. You maybe don't need third-party expertise and support if you have a team internally, though. Using somebody that has a lot of knowledge on the specific iPaaS platform you're working with definitely helps. That takes us to sort of our highest level sort of approach to this problem, which is doing everything custom. And we have some customers that decide to go down this route. The primary reason that is it's super customizable. You can really do whatever you want, and you can build anything with any APIs that are available, and you can kind of make it all work together, and you can get really optimized and tailored to a very specific use case. So if you have different departments that have different rev rec models, maybe multiple products, multiple business units, you start to kind of outscale basic configurability, and you really need something custom and really robust. Cons is with any custom integration that anyone ever does, you are going to have a really big, significant development effort to get something up and running and working. You're going to need technical expertise, not only on sort of a platform and a technology, but on the thing that you guys have built custom, which means that can be sort of expensive to maintain, and kind of continuous updates and improvements, especially as you see with a lot of integration solutions, is that the core platforms themselves, whether it's a HubSpot or a NetSuite or anything else that might be in your stack, they're pushing updates to their APIs, their infrastructure, the way that they're doing things. And so you kind of need to maintain both of those. And as they're constantly moving, we typically caution people against this approach, and we really look at it as kind of this is absolutely an option. You can absolutely do it. We've helped companies do it before, but you can kind of get yourself into sticky situations that hurt long term, where you kind of need constant managed IT services in order to make something function.